Welcome to the Mankind Cave. Welcome to Kayfabe Connection, your home for facts, rumors, knowledge, trivia, and everything you know and hope to know about pro wrestling. Hit the subscribe button. It is right down here. If you want to listen to something different other than generic metal music, welcome to Q1 to 4 dudes talking about wrestling, the same topics, the same companies over and over. If you want to listen to something different, hit the subscribe button.
Hey, this is Adam, a.k.a. Edge, a.k.a. the Rated R Superstar, a.k.a. Dwight from Haven, a.k.a. What was my name in Bending the Rules? I can't remember, but you're listening to the Kayfabe Connection.
This is Matt Jackson of the Young Bucks, and you're listening to the Kayfabe Connection, your home for facts, rumors, knowledge, trivia, and everything you know or hope to know about pro wrestling. It's just too sweet.
Welcome to the Mankind Cave. Welcome to a special edition. Thanks for watching. And we're talking about Dominion. New Japan Pro Wrestling put on an event. Everybody's talking about it. And it's one of those things where I just saw a meme that my buddy sent me from New Orleans, Larry and Logan, co-host. It was a bus, and then a train was coming, and the bus was Keith Lee getting the double titles at Great American Bash.
Oh, boy.
And you know where I'm getting at. The train was a certain individual that won his double titles. We'll get all into that on the show here and cover Dominion. Without further ado, though, this face here should be a familiar face if you're a fan of Kayfabe Connection. There is no Kayfabe Connection without this individual here. This is a fellow podcaster, fellow friend, but a fellow brother here. Dion of SOS Wrestling Network fame. What's good?
Hey, you appreciate it, man. That was a legendary introduction. You know what it is, man. Stardust Yuaku out here representing SOS Wrestling Network, like my good brother said right there. So, yeah, man, we got a lot of stuff to get into, dude. This crazy weekend for
We're all
Japan.
smiling about it just because it's so wild, man. It's like bizarre
Right?
world right now. It's just so wild. But let's get all the plugs out of the way. We'll get into the show. How about that? And
Sure.
since you're the guest on the show, I'm not going to be here hogging the mic on the stuff. Why don't you go ahead and plug SOS and plug all your stuff?
Oh, you already know, man. If you want to find me and listen to my, exploits in the pro wrestling game, you can find me at SOS Wrestling Network right here on YouTube. So all I do, search it, will be right there. So, yeah, man, we do this New Japan, All Japan, Pro Wrestling, Noah, ED, Pro Wrestling. If it is that, at some point we talking about it. So come give us a holler. We do our thing. So
Yeah, and I mean I got to plug them too because it is your direct source of. If you're a pro wrestling fan like we are, you want to go to the right source, and to me, he's the right source to go with, and very super knowledgeable. And there's too many just people who've only been watching for a little bit that are like sort of casual about it that try to talk about this stuff. And it's just like anything. You want to go to an expert, someone that knows what they're talking about. If you want to know about Japanese wrestling, and not just New Japan, we're talking all across the board with promotions, kind of in the same vein of kayfabe. That's how we do as well. You want something all across the board and not just this is Dion and I'm gonna tell you one promotion and like super biased and basic. Like, no. SOS Wrestling Network, follow on YouTube, subscribe, just everything. Comment, Twitter, everything.
you heard him, shit. He
Everything.
over there, hey, doing the thing. Oh, he sounded real good over there.
But yeah, and while you're at it, while you're in the clapping mood, give yourselves a round of applause. If you could also do a good justice and a good service to your fellow wrestling man, go ahead and follow at the letter Kayfabe Connection on Twitter, Kayfabe Connection, all one word, on Instagram, and also hit the subscribe button on this channel. Here's my thing: if we're friends and or family, and you haven't subscribed, dude,
Right?
J-Brone, not even a jabroni, you're a J-Brone. How dare you?
Right?
Secondly,
like-
if you're a wrestling fan and you're tired of Kyle's, Kevin's wrestling review, we're going to cover Extreme Rules. They're going to rip an eyeball out of a dude's eye, and cool. Awesome. Don't want to listen to that? There's that bell and that subscribe button right there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about here. Thanks for watching tonight. Thanks for watching New Japan Dominion. I gotta get something off my chest first, and Dion, I'm gonna let you follow suit here. I gotta say something, and I said this to my fellow wrestling friends and brethren today. I was wrong, and this is just me. D's gonna come in here and chime in on his thoughts. Speaking just for me, as a wrestling fan, I was wrong. My intention was to do a full-blown kayfabe episode, and I was gonna basically shit on Ghetto and say, you know what? And we talked off podcast a couple days ago, and I called you and I'm like, dude, how's New Japan any better than WWE as far as like building new stars and like taking risks with people and stuff? I was wrong, and whether it was popular or unpopular, that's the eye of the beholder. There's going to be people who are hyped about this decision. There's going to be people who are like, damn, you know, they're riding for Naito. But I was wrong in that vein of just immediately asserting, like pontificating, as some of us wrestling podcasters do, like, we already know what Ghetto's going to do. Okada's LOL, Okada wins. Like, Okada's going to advance to the finals. Like, that's just what's going to happen. And it didn't work out that way. Not at all. And the way things are looking, Okada's going to be feuding with the Tokyo Pimp. So, like, you talk about poo-pooing on a company and saying, oh, they don't build any new stars. Well, actually, they're trying to right now. And to me, like, dude, Ghetto has the biggest balls in pro wrestling right now, dude.
Bro.
I don't think there's anybody that has bigger balls than Ghetto right now. Like, it's wild.
I gotta agree with you. Like, yeah, he's being mad ballsy right now. I can't agree with that.
And so again, that to me is, like I said, I was wrong, man. Like, I thought I knew it all. I'm like, oh, Okada's gonna win. And maybe Naito retains, or like, but the writing to me seemed to be on the wall that, well, isn't that? I mean, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Man, isn't it messed up that like Taichi's getting these big wins and like people in the New Japan Cup seem to be gaining momentum, and then all of a sudden it was like we just assumed Hiromu was going to be the one to take on Naito, and that unfinished business was going to happen there. Dude, that was the plan before the C word. We won't say that on YouTube. We all know that rule as YouTubers, but like Ghetto just had that plan and was just like, well,
wait, there's more. That's exactly what he said, dude.
D, what I mean, if you haven't watched, here's a spoiler alert: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ooh, man. Let's see. Do you want the whole weekend? There's encompassing. Oh man. First of all, we get my man Evil after 5 years, dude. Like,
and the way you notice your boy's got the purple. I had to
exactly. Everything is evil. Fly God's an awesome God.
Fly God's an awesome God. There's a little boom, 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 boom.
Dude. The way it was so masterful, the way he just turned on Naito because Naito's giving the classic fist bump, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm doing it." Then it just turns to too sweet, and I was like, "Hey, time froze right there." It was just like
wasn't that on some Dave now? And you're like,
yeah, like
remember that?
I was like,
that was like the
I was Orton
equivalent of.
Bro, I was Orton. I was like, oh shit.
He's all up, like he's clapping for him. He's all up on the shoulders, like, yeah. Yeah.
Then when I saw it, I thought about it. I was like, it was really fun and it was unexpected. And I was talking about this earlier with my co-host Jana. I was like, if anybody, well, actually, she said this, so shout out to her. If anybody saw this coming, not only Evil, not necessarily Evil turning on Los Ingobernables de Japón, but him joining Bullet Club, if you saw that coming, man, you need to play the lottery numbers next week because
you already know there's going to be people on their podcasts like, oh, I saw it coming and blah 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 blah. I saw some criticisms today too. because not like I love Naito, but I was jovial in the sense of like Ghetto's taking that, like that was my angle. Ghetto's finally taking a booking risk, and he's just saying, you know what, screw it, let's try to build something and try to go from here because it's more compelling to do this turn. It makes Naito like Naito is a monster babyface now, and Hiromu too is a monster babyface now. After that match, if Naito just won and he did his thing in the ring and like, okay, cool, he retained, the good guy won. I think it's this case in point of like, and I was guilty of not doing the let it play out. I mean, I don't think, I'm just speaking for me, and I want to know how you feel about this. I don't feel that Naito is buried, or man, they don't care about him and they're mad like he made himself and like they're just gonna book him into a corner now and it's done for him. Like, I don't necessarily think that. I honestly think like I don't want to jump the gun on like we're not even breaking the card down yet. I'm already doing the crystal ball thing. But like, I could see Jay White being his nemesis that transitions feuds over to like maybe it's Evil and Hiromu, and maybe now we get Switchblade and Naito. Like, so I hate that armchair booker stuff, but it's just in my mind. I just got to let it out to you guys and gals. I think that's where we might go. I wasn't sour at my lovely bread and breakfast this morning. Super comfortable. I woke up to the smell of waffles and eggs and a wonderful heavyweight championship match. Yeah, I wasn't sour in the bed. I'm like, oh shit. But I wasn't like jumping on the bed doing snow angels, but I wasn't like, fuck man, Naito's done, like he's buried. It was like, whoa, wait, what? Like, and just to add insult to injury about the Bushi psych out and who really was under the mask, and if you know kind of thing, Dick Togo, like. And there's a third member of that trios there that I don't know if anybody like considered. There's like another. They were all they had the baldy look going back in the day with each other. There's another turn.
Right?
Yeah, there's gonna be the Tomohiro Ishii turn is gonna be imminent. Just where it's gonna happen, we don't know. And man, when that happens, it's just like woo. Whew.
That's going to be, hey man, I can see that happen. That will be another landscape change in New Japan Pro Wrestling here. And also too, I was show earlier, I was saying to Jenna, I was like, because being LIJ aficionados like we are, we used to jump around a little bit because we just freestyle here. Like I said, we ain't gotta go match by match, move by move, just freestyle and talk. Once we saw Homeboy coming down Bushi, I'll use the quotation marks. I was like, hey, that's Bushi. First thing I was like, nope, that's you. I was like, nah, bro, that's not Bushi. One, Bushi don't be wearing, he don't wear his entrance mask when he's just kind of, meandering, doing nothing. He'll have like a regular mask on. He won't have makeup on or whatever. And then Bushi would never wear those pants. Those pants were just awful. He would never wear those. So I was like, okay.
Bushi with like some boot cut jeans or something, like Jordan jeans. You're like, well, what?
Like, that's not Bushi here. So Dick Togo, and he's much more swole than Bushi is, or not necessarily swole, but he's thicker than he is, physique-wise. So that's not really Bushi here. But I will say this too about match. Dude, I don't know if you agree with me. We can have different opinions. That match did not need to go 38 minutes. We 40 minutes for that doesn't. Me personally, and because I was Evil for a long time, I think Evil's best strengths are probably held to a match 20 minutes or shorter. That's kind of his best strength. So
yeah, I don't want to be this dork that's on a microphone and not in a wrestling ring. Like, oh, he got exposed in the ring. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not going to sit here and like dog him for his work rate or like be that on the mic. But I agree with you. I think there's some people like Okada can go the distance and it feels epic and it doesn't slow down. It just keeps ramping up and ramping up. But I think with Evil, that was a criticism that I saw, I think, from a lot of people, was that he went toe-to-toe back-to-back days with the two best wrestlers in Japan, with Tetsuya Naito and Kazuchika Okada. Did it live up to being in the ring toe-to-toe with said legendary wrestlers in the game, the one and the two, the aces, basically? No disrespect to my boy here, but Hiroshi, we'll get to Hiroshi's tough day at the office in a little bit, but yeah, that was a criticism, that it didn't feel like Evil met the challenge, to which I would say this was his breaking out moment. This wasn't, you're judging him after being the champion of like, oh, well, he didn't seem like a champion against these two legendary former champions. Like, he just got the title, and it's his style, like, people were dogging the music, and like this one person was trying to troll and was like, what the hell was up with his skirt and his spooky entrance music? And I said, it was the entrance music in ring gear of the double IWGP champion.
I mean, facts, dude.
Get him with the honor, like,
keeping it real, like.
Yeah, so it's cute to do the nitpick thing and like, oh, he has a skirt, oh, his music was spooky, he didn't stand toe-to-toe with Okada and Naito. He did. He won both matches.
Yeah, he did.
And that could be a fair criticism, that it did kind of go long. But again, I don't like doing that wrestling podcaster thing. Oh, his work rate was exposed.
Yeah, no doubt.
As a worker, like, I'm not in there, doing the bumps with him. So I'm not going to sit here and rate on that. Now, as a fan, it did feel like it went just a wee bit long, but I didn't leave it with that bad taste in my mouth. Like, man, the match went too long. Like, I wasn't sour about the match as a whole. And
no, I agree.
And interference in New Japan is scarce compared to like Western wrestling. Like, they're very selective. If you notice, they're selective about champion, which even some people have criticized that. You can't have it both ways. You can't sit here like we might have felt and been like, man, like, Okada again, like, this shit is boring, build new stars. Then they give you a new star and you're like, well, no, not that one. I wanted Hiromu. I didn't want Eva. I wanted Sonata. I wanted Shingo. Like,
I didn't want Jay White. Come on, it's very prevalent.
Not Burger King. Like, you can't have it your way. Like, you either
they're doing new options. that's what the point is, and about this, with people too, and he just pulled a Jericho, which people, I don't know if they realize, right? He beat the Stone pretty much essentially in the same night. He beat Okada one night. He beat Naito off the back, so he just put one of those beats on. Yeah, he just Jericho's the whole thing.
Jericho at Vengeance, basically, just back-to-back nights instead of one night.
Dude, and you and I had a conversation, matter of fact, when you called me last week, and we were talking, we were like, man, how close are any Evil or Sonata to the IWGP title or title? And we were like, they're far from it. Man, how much a week changes things.
Like I said, that's why I immediately want to come on here and just show humility and be like, dude, I was wrong, because I was going to record a podcast and just sit here and go, man, Ghetto doesn't know what he's doing. Ghetto's this, Ghetto's that. Ghetto has the biggest balls in wrestling right now. And that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing. I'm, at least as a New Japan fan, I'm glad that he's finally got out of that, let's give Naito the belt, but like, let's pull it back. Let's put Okada and Tanahashi back in it. Let's give Nakamura a little bit of love, but like, he's not the guy. Let's give Goto, let's give Haruki Goto like a little bit of shine, but like, he's not, like, he'll sniff the title, but get off the pot and like build new stars. Am I going to sit here and say, oh, I wanted, like you said, I wanted Sonata, I wanted Shingo, I wanted Hiromu? It can't be that way. Evil, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm this. I've been an Evil fan since day one, because here's the thing too, and I was telling my wife about this, because when you're with like, I don't want to say my wife's casual because she's married to me, like she's far from casual. She knows a lot about wrestling, but in the sense of like, especially with New Japan, I had to break it down how just monumental, like how crazy this is that this just happened. And I told her, I'm like, remember in Nashville, because we went for our anniversary, because she's the dopest wife ever. She got us tickets to the best in the world. And that was when he was on his Watanabe US tour. When he was just by his shoot name. And it was just kind of iffy. And you're like, I don't really know what the deal is. Like, he's just learning his craft and cool, but it wasn't any like, oh, this guy is going to be someday he's going to be at Osaka Joe and like just being the man, and he's going to be the biggest deal. He's going to be in Bullet Club. I would have never in a million years thought that. In Toronto, we were both there at Global Wars in Toronto. Wasn't he in like some like 10-man tag or so? It was like some pure like tag match, and he just kind of was like blip under the radar. And it really wasn't until he embraced this evil role to where he started to break out. And did I still, even when LIJ was white hot, did I think he was going to be the one to branch off? To me, it was like Sonata or Hiromu. But that's what makes this swerve so fucking genius, and just like, we didn't see it coming. Nobody, if you said you saw this coming, you're a liar. You are a liar. No one saw this coming except Ghetto and whoever was in the room with Ghetto when he was going, yeah, Evil's going to be the double champ. Cool. Whoever was in that room that day, that's who knew. Nobody else knew that Evil was going to come out of this New Japan Cup winner and beat Okada and Tetsuya Naito back-to-back nights. Nobody saw it coming, and that's what made it so good.
Look at the end of the turn, too. He destroyed Yoshihashi in one of those matches, man. He pretty much turned his back on Sonata here. And, I mean, when we're tournament predictions for the tournament when it was coming up, I really don't know anybody who was like, oh, he was winning this. I'm not saying that no one said that. I don't know anybody that said that. If they
wasn't a popular opinion.
Wasn't. I think it was pretty either Okada or either Okada, Sonata, or outside possibility Hiromu would possibly do it. So that's what I was getting with that. And with Evil turning on LIJ here, and of course I'm going to be a homer. I'm going to sound like a homer here, but it's probably even double, it's probably even tenfold more than it would be somebody that's actually turning on another stable, because LIJ, they're not the most, members. They don't have the most lucrative members. They don't have, it's exclusive, not a numbers with them. And it's with their low tag, every little intricate part of every member in their team. So it's okay, you got something from Sonata, Evil, so on and so forth. And now when Naito does the LIJ roll call, who's the first name he says in that roll call? It's gone now. It's gone. Yeah, that was his first raid. How people forget that. The dude he chose to be with Los Ingobernables back 5 years ago. And I think this is kind of just more than him turning on Naito to be the champion. This is kind of like, hey, this is the dude that handpicked me, and this is like, I knew it was going to happen eventually, to be real. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. And I didn't know that I thought it needed to happen. It really did need to happen, because like you were saying earlier about guys like Haru, guys like Sonata, guys like Shingo, vis-a-vis Evil doing this and to elevate them, because they're already stars in their own way. But them, even now, we don't know how long this title reign to be, but we assume that they're going to go with Hiromu Takahashi and Evil in this match, because that's what they teased here at the end of this match right here.
The translation, yeah.
Yeah.
For those that
didn't
the translation, right? Did you see the translation?
I don't think I released yet. I'm not sure. I didn't check, but I'm going to see if they got released on YouTube.
I read.
This is also.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say I read it on Global. It was basically him saying like, you're the double champ now, and that's cool, but like, pick whatever belt you want to put on the line, and you want to do it. Let's go do it, and it'll be whenever you want to do it. I'm ready. And Evil just kind of brushed him off like, whatever, cool, and turned his back. And when the funniest meme I saw all day was Hiromu when he was like, ah! Like screaming. Someone did the Linkin Park crawling in my skin. They put the lyrics, and it was like Hiromu like, ah! But dude, how big of a fucking baby face is the fucking time-bound Hiromu Takahashi right now?
It's there.
Almost it's dead there. Dead equal with Knight, which is crazy.
It's
like, they're two top baby faces now. And so we thought it was going to be those two going against each other. Now it's like they're both like Hiromu just got heightened up. Not saying like, oh, he's on this identical level.
No, I know what you're saying.
Naito, but like LIJ got stronger from that sense, even though that sounds weird. They lost a member, but it's like now the sum of their parts are all like just pushed up a little bit more to where it's more balanced in that stable. And it's not like Naito's just like, I'm the man and you guys are like my sidekicks. Now it's like, no, these are all top baby, like, and these are all like great wrestlers and great characters. The Cold Skull Sonata, Hiromu Takahashi, all the collective is just stronger because of this. And Evil gets to do his thing and the rocket ship is just. That's how you shake things up. And I think as much as we would have been hyped, and I think our visceral reaction is like, man, they just gave them the belts and then the C word happened and things kind of were up in the air. And now it's like the first defense and this, it's like, I think that's the easy, like, visceral reaction. But to be a patient wrestling fan, as we sometimes criticize, like, oh, people don't let things play out, we're too impatient. We were fans when there was more than one wrestling company. Not like some of these youngsters, and I hate to be that old head dude, but like these youngins, they want instant gratification. They want the heel turn on the next episode of Raw or whatever show they watch. And it's like and especially with New Japan, they had me I was over Okada and Tanahashi. And then they just hooked me and I was just like, I'm just going to shut up and be patient. We've seen that with Naito's eventual double night win that he got with Kota, and then in the final with Okada. Like, it was a very impatient journey, and there were times where you just were so numb to it, you're like, why am I even mad anymore? And then you like this weird roller coaster of emotions to get to this point. But he got his moment. You got the moment, but it doesn't stop there. And I think in that same vein of how he captured his moment and now Evil got his, and his journey was, I'm thinking Morgan and Freeman, if you're going to do it, something, do it expeditiously. Like, Evil had that expeditious title reign. Like, it's just different for stories. But I think with just the current climate of everything, and of course this was the first shows with crowd. Yeah. Third capacity. Do something to just completely shake the atmosphere up. And I think also, and I was shout out to my boy Carter, your friend as well. Carter. He was bringing up a great point today. New Japan Pro Wrestling is not this youthful company. There's a couple of young lions, and we all know, probably in agreement, who they got their eye on, who we think are just going to excel pretty rapidly. Okada is not going to be around forever. Tanahashi's damn sure not going to be around forever. We got Hanma doing just whatever he's doing. Like the gingerbread man. All respect to Hanma, but I mean, we got it's not a youthful company. Like, there's a lot of the passing of the guards that are going to be happening soon, and they had to do something because I don't know if Ghetto is looking, because we did the WWE comparison. I don't know if they're looking not just at the Japanese companies that have folded due to the C word, but also looking at from a business model of the biggest company that we got to claim in them. Cena goes to do movies. Roman's like, nah, I got babies and fuck you guys. I have children and I'm trying to live. Head going, the dude from 3MB, shout out to Drew. He's been killing it from what I've seen. They don't know what the hell they're doing right now. Bruce Pritchard's not sleeping. Paul Heyman's fired. Like, they don't know what they're doing. I don't know if Ghetto saw that and is just like, yikes. Like, I got to reel stuff in and figure out Naito's the man and he's not going anywhere and he's going to be the man and we can bank on him. And of course, Okada, you can go to that well if you want. but like we really need to focus on the youth in this company and like build stars and capitalize it while we care about it.
Not that. And what this also, what I think this does is we have almost a new. You got Ziv Knight. I love him. If he would win this match, fine, cool. But at that point, you almost have to, you're painting yourself into a whole nother corner because you almost have to go back to the Okada well right now because he would like the runner up in the New Japan up is evil. And almost too, I thought about this. If you compare the days, and I thought about this with the Hiromu Takahashi in the Okada match when he actually timed by 2 on Ishii when the match happened. I was like, oh, Hiromu was going to win this match, but I was like, wait, he just hit time by 2 on Ishii, so why would he use it again in the tournament unless he's not going to be in the tournament after the match and he loses? So I was just like, oh dear. You know, you start this, you're thinking of yourself cross-eyed and everything. So I was thinking, I was like, as the main event was going on, I was like, why would they have Evil switch his character up right now, do all of this just for him to lose? It really would not make a whole lot of sense because I don't want to say that he would take, because I was like, he would be really hurt if he lost. Like, no, if he stayed the same as LIJ Evil, he wouldn't have been hurt by that loss. But this new improved Evil with all this new attitude, new stable faction, he needed this win huge. And of course, Naito Rada, totally not upset when it happened. I was more shocked, was upset when it happened. And yeah, I'm totally for it. It gives, like you said, he's going to probably have a title defense against Hiromu. He's going to have a title defense against my man Shingo Takagi, who we'll be talking about very, very shortly. And long story short, he's going to have a title defense against, I'm going to go ahead and say it because he pretty much ruined this. This was the start of the downfall of Evil's departure from LIJ. I don't know if you know, but in the backstage, New Japan interviews or whatever, he told it many times that, hey, when this whole stuff, like the worldwide sneezing problem, when it all happened, everybody kind of kept touch a little bit, but he heard nothing from Evil. They heard no text, no call, nothing. So I'd assume that the reception in Darkness World was just horrible and just don't get reception there, parts unknown. But with him saying that and him just saying that he wanted Evil to win this tournament, it's like it really made sense to start. It was almost a perfect storm. It really was. And I think, long story short, my brother, when this to it, I think the dude who's going to take that belt off him is the dude who he pretty much just ended his tag team partnership with. And that sounds crazy right now, but I might want to take one of those, if not both, off of him. Like, I don't know about both. I think that's kind of a lot for Sonata. That's right now, it's a lot. But he's definitely probably going to get one of those belts off of him. I don't know if he'll get double champ again. I don't foresee that. I think more now he's more with the main strap now. I don't really know how they're gonna break these titles up. I thought he would maybe one before he lost the third, but
what about the Never trios? Like, is that how they're gonna introduce Ishii? Like, as the like, are they gonna do like a little Togo, Evil and Ishii run with those titles? Because that was another point Carter brought up, is like, man, in every company, it seems, those trios belts are just doomed for just obscurity. Like,
yeah. Unless you're Lucha Underground, then the company is that. But, shout out to Lucha Underground, like y'all.
But, like, they have to address that situation, like.
I would say, because 2/3 of those team members are LIJ, one is Club clearly. At this point, you're probably in the boat with me. I don't think Evil gives a damn about the Never Trios title, dog. So he's just like, yeah, he's all right, cool. We can off the side. So I want to see what you think about this team. This actually ties into the Never Openweight title as well, the singles title. I would like to see a team of Desperado, Kanemaru, and Desperado, Kanemaru, and Doki go after those trio straps because they already kind of treat Doki like a little, pissant as is. I think they'll kind of give them something to kind of look and be like, okay, I'm a champion, right? I think that'll be really good. And speaking of new stars too, I think this is kind of a decent kind of segue. We can come back to the main event too. But Sho and Shingo, bruh, that was the match of the night by me. That right there.
That was a wrestling match.
Dude, these two guys are Shingo Takagi 1 is incredible. We've seen this guy, me and you, for the part of 10 years? He was in Ring of Honor before, been in PWG. Fred got a whole PWG collection. He's going like 50 of those things right now that he got, but yeah, him and Show's another one I think the New Japan has stamped for really, really things. And I don't know if you heard about Yo's injury. Knee, I think AL, I think is what I heard. I'm not really sure, but I think he definitely messed his knee up. So they're going to pull those tag straps. So here, tag straps for them. I don't really know what that means for the junior tag team division because, it's looking really scarce right now, my brother.
The Achilles heel of New Japan, though, has been that damn tag team division. Like, I mean, I think Gallows and Gunn are definitely – I know Gallows and Gunn are going to go back to New Japan. It's just a matter of time. But we're talking about the junior straps, though, and they're not going to be wrestling for no junior straps. So, but I think both tag divisions as a whole, it's always been just the sort of hot potato running out of ideas. Let's throw it on these guys. I mean, do you even feel that way with like Kota and Tanahashi? Like they just kind of gave them this weird like accelerated tag run, and they're like, and because I think that's the thing with New Japan. They take a lot of pride in the storytelling and planting those seeds. That was something that was just like, here you go. We got Kota and Tanahashi as partners, and like, cool.
I honestly, at first, I could kind of see what you mean with maybe throwing and mashing them together. If it were like Okada and Tanahashi, I'd be like, I kind of would do a little more on. But I think with Ibushi and his relationship with Hiroshi Tanahashi, he views him as one of his wrestling gods. So they have a pretty close relationship. So I'm like, I can buy them being a super tag team. It's pretty much like, we both sports fans here. It's like when you get your little garbage teams, which you and I being from both Indiana and Detroit, we've had our share of, let's be real. And it's when you see like a team that's a super team across the way, it's okay. So that's how I look at Golden Ace here. They're like a super team. I actually felt they injected so much importance into the IWG heavyweight tag team title scene because this match they had tonight with the Dangerous Tekkers, that match maybe one of the most important heavyweight tag team title matches I've seen in a while. Dude, Dangerous Tekkers, my dude, the ending sequence was executed beautifully because it wasn't any back and forth and Golden Aces get a little shit before Tekkers finishes him off. No, Dangerous Tekkers just completely obliterated Hiroshi Tanahashi. Like, his legs, I don't even see how – I'm, like, holding my legs thinking about him because this is like they were just going to this leg sword. So I can see what you mean about how they were kind of paired. If it was maybe any other guy, I'd be like, that's okay. And kind of the same with Zach and Taichi. At first, maybe they were a blind pairing, but they've actually grown over time to be a decent tag team that have been there. So –
it's like a perfect cocktail of just like, because Taichi, of course, he's the mass singer type dude with the singing, and it's like a fun entrance. And Zach is just all business, with a suplex coat coming to the ring, strutting. Like, it's a good balance to have that in the team. But when Taichi's in the ring, he's not on some Yano shit. Like, he's business with Zack Sabre. Like, they just have a chemistry. And I'm curious to see where they go now because we have new champions. I'm curious to see where they go with these two now because, like, I agree with you. Like, they're tight. Like, I'm a fan. Like, as far as tag teams go, that's my tag team. Like,
the Tekkers are the shit, man. I love they got so much. I hate that word swag, but they got so much swag to the Dangerous Tekkers when you really think about it. Like, they're legit. They're legit, dude. Like, and I hope Kota and Tanahashi continue to team. I want them to still do their single stuff well, but I still I like that tag team as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I know Kota's more of a spring chicken than Tanahashi, but it definitely takes the load off of Tanahashi, especially coming off all like his elbow, like all these injuries he's had. He's at that point of the career where we got to protect him, man. We got to wrap him in bubble wrap and just protect the ace as long as we can and keep him around, because if he's just out here just killing himself in 45-minute matches for titles or like in main events and so, like, he's not at that point. Like, we need to get him in tags and then like preserve him for like a Dominion show or a G1 run or Wrestle Kingdom, of course. Like, we need to preserve his single matches for matches that we can really put a good book into his career and not see him just kind of like going out there like he's just like Undertaker status, like, oh well that one sucks, so let me try to get it back with this one. Like, I really don't know how much gas Hiroshi Tanahashi has in the tank, but I'm a mega fan. I love him. I love his work. And I really I want to see the bookend on his career go out the way that he deserves to go out, as one of the all-time greats, not just in New Japan, but in wrestling altogether. To me, so
well said.
I hope they bookend him properly. And I think the tag, to your point, the tag is a great idea because there's still some miles on that team, and it takes away from him just going out in singles competition and just killing himself night in and night out,
I think that's a conversation you and I've actually had too before, which you put investment in tag team wrestling, it can be important. And you can run shows with main eventing a show with a tag team title match. We just saw with AEW Fyter Fest Night 1, main event with a tag championship match. I feel with teams like Dangerous Tekkers and the Grenades, no disrespect to the Grills of Destiny, because I fucks with the Grills of Destiny, but I think with teams like that, you could actually run not necessarily a Dominion or a, I don't know, what's the King of Pro Wrestling main event, but I think you could run a main event with those titles and having those guys be in the forefront for those tag team titles. I think that's a really good shout, and that's a good idea. We do that. I do. I was gonna ask you too, because we can talk because they had a lot of undercard stuff. We ain't got to.
Yeah, we can basically just wrap it up. I think, yeah. I mean, we're at that close to wrapping it up point. To me, like, I think we've dealt.
I'll just read the results real quick.
Yeah, go for it, man. For sure. Run it down, yeah.
Shit, we got Nagata, Kojima, Taguchi. They actually beat Kojima. They beat Makabe, Honma, and they beat Gabriel Kidd. Dude, Gabriel Kidd is a young man that I really like. I see a bright future for that dude. He's really solid. And we got earlier a show, got Hiromu actually being more serious, which tied into the main event, which I thought that was a really nice touch too. Desperado is a guy who I think the last month he's been really killing it. He had with Banger. He's going to be the #1 contender for the Openweight Championship, as we saw with the belt. And it's like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm out. He started walking out with the belt like I'm out. So then you actually put me on this. Where it looks like we're going to get a Yujiro Takahashi and Kazuchika Okada feud. And you know what?
Your Tokyo Pimp action. Who saw that coming? No, again, nobody. Ghetto's just out here just throwing half-court shots up like, yo, let's get after it. Hey, I'm with it, man. Like,
dude, this is honestly another sports comparison. What is it? When somebody gets hurt, what do they say? Or somebody leaves, what do they say? Next man up. Come on, that's exactly what this is, bro. That's exactly what this is. So overall, I enjoyed the show. The shock factor of the main event, I think, is probably put the little cherry on top of the show for me. It was very enjoyable. I'm glad New Japan's getting fans back, whatever capacity they are. And I'm glad New Japan is back in total. And I see what the next show is, because I don't even know right now.
Here's the thing. I don't want to be we're the Puro guys and we're just on our high horse dog in WWE. Keith Lee's the man. Bask in his glory. I love Keith Lee. I've been a fan of his work. I saw him and Ricochet in Orlando during WrestleMania weekend put on a classic that a lot of people probably were just partying and sleeping in their hotel room. I stayed and watched, and sadly I missed the first Joey Janela spring break with Invisible Man because I was tired, so I get it. But all respect to Keith Lee. But this is the thing that we're seeing now. Like, I think this is NXT went in one direction and New Japan went in the other. Their double title, and I mean New Japan's, opened up a myriad of just storylines that we just covered on this great podcast, thanks to my boy to my left here on the screen. But then you have another company who he got all the confetti, and now all the dorks are like, oh, they won in ratings 3 weeks in a row. But where do you go from here? Undisputed Era is teasing like they're going up to Raw, and they're going to try to go after AJ Styles. Like if you're on the Instagram and on the social media this weekend, they're kind of alluding to that. So, dude, you got Ciampa and Gargano who have just jumped the shark. Like that, their stay in NXT has just been past due. That's how bad the main event scene is there. So I'm saying that to say this. They invested all their stock in that big blow up Cole Keith Lee feud, but then it's like, what's after this? And I think that's been a complaint in wrestling in general, is like, you'll give us this big grandiose thing, but then after that it's like, are you even considering what's happening after that? And we could venture to guess like, oh, Dijak's going to take on Keith Lee, and then Killer Cross is going to interject, but it's like, it just seems like it isn't premeditated to the point with like New Japan. I think this is a point as a wrestling fan. I think New Japan's doing it better than everybody right now as far as like really planning ahead, which is wild because I almost recorded a show tonight making fun of Ghetto and making fun of New Japan's traditional habits of just like, we're going to shelter these 3 names and protect them. We were talking about it. Okada has had 15 losses in 5 years. 3 a year.
Bruh.
Singles competition. We were going to get on here and roast that shit and be like, man, they don't build new stars like we get. And that's us. And I know it's, you may even think that, oh, we're comparing them with NXT and we're on our pure high horse. But we were going to get, I admitted I was wrong at the top of the episode, first of all. Second of all, like, we're praising this company because finally we got to just sit back and let them, like, they know what they're doing, obviously. Like, we got to just be wrestling fans and just see how it plays out. Like, I know we hear that rhetoric used a lot with, oh, just let it play out, and then nothing happens a year later. But I think that's the thing is, like, especially with New Japan, patience is a virtue, man. And, like, sometimes your favorite guy doesn't get the confetti. Sometimes your favorite guy is after the dude that you didn't know was your guy, but maybe now you're on the evil train and you're like, yo, this is cool. This is fun. Maybe you're even more hardcore for Naito. It's like, I just think there's so much that's gonna, like, I'm so intrigued by New Japan, where, again, I was gonna record a show just shitting on them and be like, man, like, I don't want to sound like that fan that's just sick of, New Japan is one of the few companies that I hit the X on the New Japan world, and I'm like, I never go, man, that show sucked, or
right.
I'm not really feeling the booking on, like, but from building new stars from that perspective, I think some of us grew impatient about it and was like, if you followed New Japan longer than like Wrestle Kingdom 12, you've kind of maybe been frustrated by that in the grand scheme that they have their rat pack of, you know, their Sinatras and Dean Martin, like, you know, Tanahashi and Okada. And it's like, but anybody outside that bubble, it's like they never really break that ceiling. And so this opens the door for just a plethora of challengers and new stars. And it kind of gives hope as a Puro fan that, like, youth is the movement right now in that company, and the sky is the limit. And the shock factor and the swerve factor too, like, damn near, is this the biggest swerve that we've seen in modern New Japan?
Oh, it's definitely
Switchblade was like a big one. Like, Switchblade was,
I would say, probably since the AJ situation.
AJ Styles. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that because I kind of like. What's crazy is that happened. I was like, people was happy with like they didn't say Bullet Club. It was like some stuff happened on New Japan. I was like, man, is Kenny Omega the leader? I don't know what, you know, he's doing them like wild ideas. Like, man, did he do something? And I was like, ha ha ha, yes he did. But same with Evil.
In that vein, yeah, exactly. In that vein, like, this is up there as one of the biggest swerves ever in New Japan. No one saw this coming. No one saw this coming, and that's what makes it so great. That's what makes it so genius. That's what makes it so enjoyable as a fan, that we're all chomping at the bit of it. I'm already thinking now, and we're not going to do it on the show. We're going to let it breathe and sign off here and plug our stuff. Tranquilo, right? But I think that it is that thing that, like, I'm chomping at the bit. Like, I'm thinking in my head, like, damn, like, who's going to win G1 this year? What do these storylines play now? I'm super intrigued by it versus like, well, I think Naito like have like a friendly run with LIJ member, and then he's gonna like sky's the limit now. It just, the whole company, like, again, we got Tokyo Pimp taking on the Rainmaker. No one was talking about that being possible. Like, things are just so unpredictable right now, and I think that's when wrestling gets the most exciting. New Japan is unpredictable right now from a company that even the purest fans here, pun intended, were like, man, come on, dude, you're always this way. Now they're not that way, and we already love this company, but the fact that stigma is almost like broken because Evil did what none of us thought would happen. Sky's the limit in New Japan. Youth is the movement, like we alluded to. Shingo, Sho, Hiromu, Sonata, Evil. Dude, there's so many stars that they're building right now. It's not just about three. It's more. It's bigger than just three names.
Think of guys we don't have right here either, like a Will Ospreay, like a Jay White, like a Kenta. We don't even have those guys either. Wait till they come back, dude.
Didn't even mention them on this episode, this podcast. Didn't even mention they're megastars. Remember Kenta's run coming out, Shibata beefing with Shibata, him being in the Bullet Club? That's like, okay, well, that's yesterday's news. Now we got Evil. You know, it's like there's so many directions we could go in. I will tell you this, Wrestle Kingdom this year, to me, is just like, whoa, I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't think I've ever felt that way as a New Japan fan, where not that we're heading in. I know it's like we got like 5 months till that happens. It'll go by quick, though, hopefully.
For sure.
But Wrestle Kingdom is it's a big question mark right now. And that's fun, and that's awesome.
Right? That's what I want. I want unpredictability. Even though, I want Naito to win the belts and keep the belts. I'm like, now him winning G1 is actually a viable, it's actually a viable proposition to happen. Like, we could be looking at him and Okada in the G1 final, which has never happened.
Never.
We could be looking at that. So you know what, another thing we could be looking at, and we didn't get this match in the year, we didn't get the New Japan Cup. We could be potentially looking at like a Naito Hiromu final. The potentials are like endless.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. I think I've never been more intrigued as a New Japan fan, and that feels so good to say, because that was always the hang-up that I had with New Japan. Because again, my shades are a dark tint. I don't have rose-colored glasses. I'm not an AEW stan. I'm not a New Japan stan. I'm not a PWG stan. I just like certain companies, but I will always call out whomever and say, hey, I'm not really cool with this, or man, this is kind of annoying, because I try to be as objective as I can be and not hold bias. Man, so again, it feels good to be a New Japan fan and have everything totally unpredictable. Fan or no fan of the finish, it's super intriguing right now with the direction that New Japan is going. I think we could all agree with that point. Dion, real quick quick plugs before we sign off here.
You already know, man. SOS Wrestling Network, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud.
Down with Twitter,
Instagram, SoundCloud, YouTube here, of course. Thank you, my good brother, for allowing me to come onto your platform. You know you were always going to do the same. So just let me know, drop that little kite, and we'll handle that business. So, yes, this was fun.
Thank you so much, at the letter Kayfabe Connection, Kayfabe Connection on Instagram, Kayfabe Connection on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. That's it for another episode of Kayfabe Connection. Next time someone tells you wrestling's fake, you know you tell them. Star movies and TV.